the truth! You can't handle the truth!
Don't label us left or right. Our American. Not looking for a war, but we came to fight. Our American. Somebody's gotta stand up. Stand up. Somebody's gotta do what's right. We're rising 'cause we're fed up. Got our house in order and got yours inside. I am American. That's what I am. That's what I think and what I do. I am American. That's what I am. And I bleed red, white, and blue.
Well, good morning, everyone. Welcome back to the Super Dave Show. It is March 2nd, which, for those of you that know me, you know, Wendy and I are trying to make it happen. It's her birthday. You like the way I do that? Yeah, she's my sweetie. So anyway, it's her birthday. She's 39 again, and everyone should wish her happy birthday. So, and Carl, thank you so much. Carl is always the first one to say, I'm here now, you can start. So that's when the show starts, when Carl shows up. So anyway, I'm on all the platforms this morning as supposed to be. I don't think I forgot anything. I even had my phone working. So so far I haven't screwed anything up yet. So, yes I have.
I want the truth! You can't handle the truth!
Let me go back over here real
Don't
quick.
label us left or right.
Just goes to show you. Yes, I am screwing up already. I had everything, but I hit that, but I forgot to. Oh, well, that's the way it goes. All right, welcome back, everybody. This is going to be an interesting show, as usual. I have to tell you, I'm laughing. I'm trying to figure out why the Democrats are bringing Cuomo down. We know they don't have any decency, so it's not about decency. Never think it's like, oh, they found him, they're doing something. Of course, the leftist idiots that believe anything they say will believe that garbage. But bottom line is that they're not. Cuomo, maybe he's embarrassing them a little more than they want. Not that they can be embarrassed anymore, but how come? And isn't this interesting? In California, they're in the process of doing a recall of that loser governor, Newsom. Now, for those of you that don't know, Gavin Newsom is Nancy Pelosi's nephew. If you notice, the media never says that because they don't want you to know things. They don't tell you things. But, he's the one that's closed the state down and cost him a fortune. But don't worry about it. Washington is there to help them. Oh, yes, Washington is there to bail them all out. They tore their cities up. They ruined their economies just to make sure Donald Trump was taken out. Here's what's really funny, is they have done everything to cause President Trump to lose, all of us to lose. It's actually all of us. They've done everything they can. And they still had to cheat in the elections because the votes for Trump were so much more. It wasn't even close, regardless of what the media tells you. Every day when you watch TV, they show the riots, the insurrection of the Trump voters, of the Trump people, which was bullshit. And that's what they do. So anyway, now the Gavin Newsom of California is finding out that he may not be governor much longer because they're doing a recall, and I think they've got this signatures. Of course, here's the part of the problem. When he runs the deal, when he's governor, his connections are with all the rest of the Democrats, and they're all of a sudden, these signatures, it's really interesting. I don't even know why they check signatures except for in this case. They will. Because they want to make sure that the signatures are real. Isn't it funny? They don't care if they're real in the election of Biden versus Trump, but they're going to check these out. And what makes you think that they're going to do this right too? So, but Newsom is saying, "Uh-oh, I'm getting caught without my mask and all the rest of the stuff. I make everybody else do this stuff." And so now he says, "I think it's time we open the schools. We have to reopen the schools." And that's what he plans to do. We got to come up with something here, because right now Donald Trump's out of the picture, as far as we know. And he isn't out of the picture. I mean, he may not be the sitting president right now, but don't ever think, and this is what I was told people anyway, no matter, I don't know what's going to happen the next few weeks or next couple of years, whatever, but bottom line of all of it is if you think the very successful Donald Trump, President Trump, who did so much in his own life for his family and for America, if you think he's done, you have no idea who Donald Trump is. You really don't. You have no idea who he is. So I really hope that people stop and take a look and go, wow, this guy isn't stopping. It's not over. So in the meantime, let me see, they're going to take out Cuomo. Newsom wants to open up the schools. And this is one of my favorites. Okay, in Berkeley, which is in California, the Berkeley schools, the union boss, some long-haired losing idiot. I'll tell you what, we didn't have anyone looking like him when we were going to school. Anyway, he's some long-haired looking, I mean, he just looks like garbage. He just does. Not because he got long hair, I don't care about that, but he just looks like crap. He's a union boss. Excuse me. He's a union boss. And so he was caught on camera. This guy can't be that smart. He is caught on camera wearing his Union Federation shirt, Union Teacher Federation, or whatever. He's wearing it, taking his daughter to private school. Yeah, taking his daughter to private school. But he is out there saying, we can't open up any schools, even though we want all our teachers to get paid. We can't open up any schools until every teacher gets vaccinated. Now you've got government employees acting like welfare people. We want to get paid, but we don't want to do anything. Oh, no doubt Trump is street smart. Trump is as smart as he gets. So here you go. You got this guy. He's saying the teachers aren't going to work. But he takes his kid to school, private school, and it's okay. America, I don't care if you're a leftist or whatever. I know you watch the show. Now, honestly, I got to ask the lefties here to watch the show. Are you really this incompetent? Are you really this stupid? Really? And one of the reasons we started Real Republicans, this, of course, isn't to my leftist friends here, is so we can rise up like never before so this doesn't happen again. Now, it's going to happen again because history repeats itself. Of course, the leftists, that would be you leftists watching the show right now, for some reason, I'll tell you what, it works on the right too, though. This is what scares me. You leftists, you don't even know what your history is. Neither do a lot of people on the right. They don't know what their history is. And the most common one is Venezuela. When I'd like to know if you are a history teacher. Of course, you're supposed to be in school. I want to know if the history books are telling you how Venezuela went down so quickly. They took the guns away. I'm sorry. They took the guns away from law-abiding citizens. Well, yeah, but they try to take away from the crooks. Yeah, isn't it funny? Yeah, so the law-abiding citizens, because the law-abiding, say, here, all right, fine, take my guns. But the criminals go, are you kidding me? You think I'm getting my guns up? Are you nuts? You're out of your mind. So anyway, it just never ceases to amaze me. And I gotta tell you, I saw this gentleman here. Let me get this set up here. He is, and I gotta tell you, I see all these. I want to know why. I really want to know why. Unless they have a rule in there or something like that. But why do all these Republicans? I'm gonna bring it up here. I'll go ahead and bring it up right away. Let me bring it up here. I'm looking at this screen here. These are Republicans, and this is a new congressman, this black gentleman, and everybody else has a mask on. Now, they're supposedly Republicans, and I challenge all of them, take your damn mask off and say, you know what, kick us out.
Good evening. Byron Donalds, member of Congress from the great state of Florida, Congressional District 19. And for our friends in the media, I do want to apologize. I actually left my mask in my office. Why do I bring that up? Because it's important that in our capital, we start talking about the things that are real and not the things that are fake. You see, I already had COVID-19. The attending physician in this very capital gave me the antibody test last week. I still have it. I'm not spreading anything. I forgot my mask. The reality is, if you have antibodies, you're actually okay. The other reality is that the President of the United States, the Vice President of the United States, the Speaker of the House have all been inoculated. They have the vaccine, but they still wear their mask anyway. The reason they do this is because Washington is accustomed to fan dances. Washington is accustomed to doing fake things that don't matter. What the media will never tell you is, last year, $4.1 trillion was appropriated to battle not only coronavirus, but to get our economy back on track. $1 trillion of that money still has not been spent. And in this bill that we're about to vote on in a couple of hours, only $500 billion goes towards either COVID-19 or money to help the American people. That's it. 1.5 trillion is waste. 1.5 trillion is going to pay for bridges in New York or underground tunnels in California. Things that have nothing to do with the coronavirus. One other thing I want to point out is that some of our Democrat colleagues on the other side of the aisle, they know it's wasteful too. But the reason why you're going to see them vote for this bill is because they don't want to have to run for re-election without the support of Nancy Pelosi and the DCCC. You see, that's real. That's what's actually happening up here at Capitol Hill. And my hope is that the Times and the Post and everybody else in the mainstream media actually report those facts. You see, the American people are being taken advantage of in the nation's capital. They will tell us that 70% of the American people support this bill. But if you actually talk to Americans in their everyday life and you tell them that $1.5 trillion will never see their business, never see their pocketbooks, never go to address COVID-19, they would never support a bill like that. And that is why myself and the freshman members of the Republican Conference are not going to support this bill either. It is time we speak truth in the nation's capital. It's time we get real in the nation's capital and not support radical, wasteful, and fake relief bills like this bill tonight. Thank you.
Well, my friends, he said it well, didn't he? While America sleeps, and this goes for you lefties out there, you got to understand that they are using you like you've never been used before. They're using you. And here you are going, what, but that's for us. No, it isn't. I don't have the numbers. I'll find it in a little bit here. But there's a bill for $1.9 trillion, $500 billion is COVID related, which I think is ridiculous anyway, but let's just leave it where it is, COVID related. And so much of it is even in the COVID related stuff, and he was being very nice about it. Really only 9% is being used. But the point is that all this money is being wasted. So an American can get $1,400 and say, I'm done. I as a father, grandfather, and actually a great-grandfather, how can any honest American look at their children, grandchildren, great-grandchildren, whatever? How can you look at them and say, don't worry, you're going to get the bill later on? And happily take the money that's being doled out, or happily allow other agencies, $500 million for, what was it? For other countries, they're bailing out cities that tore themselves up. Where the Democrats allowed their citizens. They told their police officers to stand down. And they allowed them to tear the cities up, and they want you to pay for it. No. They want your grandchildren and great-grandchildren to pay for it. How do you look in the mirror? How do you look in the mirror? Or how do you look at your grandchildren and say, that's okay, we're going to send you the bill? For you Americans out there that are getting a check already, you're already getting your Social Security check or pension, whatever, and then you go, yay, I get another $1,400. Whatever you get, I don't even know what it is anymore. How can you look at your grandchildren and say, thank you very much, you get to pay this later? I really don't get it. I just don't get it. For all these people, remember when the Clintons used to pull this crap all the time? Do it for the children. No, it's become, let's do it to the children. Who gives a damn about those kids? Who cares? I'll be dead anyway. Give me my other $1,400 or whatever amount they're trying to put out there. Give it to me because I want it. The hell with my grandkids. There are so many people out there. Let me tell you, some of the people that really. All right, you get the people like I'm talking about. They go, well, but I paid it. You didn't. And not only that, but with all the stuff that you want, you're giving it to your grandchildren. That's all it is. That's bottom line. You are. So I just don't know how you do that. But here's the other people, and they don't care because they just want money. I've got relatives. Right now, they are doing wonderful. They're on welfare, or Social Security disability. So they file their taxes. They get earned income credit. You hear that? Do it again. Earned income credit. And they don't even work. How do you do that? How do you get earned income and you credit on your taxes and you don't even work? Happens all the time. First of all, I will go as far as to say, okay, fine. If you are not making much money, give them a refund on the taxes you paid. Okay, fine. I'll even go that far. But to give you more than what you paid? And especially the ones I'm talking about, the ones that aren't even working, they're sitting on their butts and they're doing nothing, and you want them to have the money? I don't get it. And then now, those same people that get the earned income tax credit plus the Social Security disability, because let me tell you something. If you think welfare is gone, or gone a lot more than it used to be, you have no idea. Social Security disability is the new welfare program. So not only that, but these people got it. There are people I know. You're right. There are people I know for a fact that are getting. We are paying There's disability. Now, a lot of people don't even know this. You get Social Security. You say, I worked 40 years, or I deserve this, whatever it is, okay? I got it. But did you know that there's people out there that barely worked ever? They go out there and they get Social Security disability? And they get more than the very people that's worked for 40 or 45 years? It happens all the time. We can't survive as a nation like this. I don't know how anyone thinks we can. The problem is the money they agree to spend is not in the bank. They have to borrow it, and the taxes pay interest. Exactly. But you know, Ronnie, you and I and a few others, not many. There's a lot of Republicans that go, well, I paid it. You know, I get this. There's a lot of Republicans that love welfare. Don't ever think they don't. It's like, well, I'm 65 now. So I can go to the doctor and, I paid this, I paid that. You're getting much more than you ever bargained for, because when they do this stuff, I'm sorry, you did pay for some of it, but some people think it's nothing. They really do. Yeah, they like opium, other people's money. Obama made it possible for illegal aliens to get. Oh, yeah, that's right. Thank you, Jim. I forgot about that. So you got all these people out there who are getting all this extra money. And by the way, when the Republicans were totally in charge in the first 2 years of Donald Trump, you had loser establishment Republicans, phony so-called Republicans who went along with this. They didn't go out there and say, we need to stop this. They never did a damn thing. Oh, they may not like us. As a conservative Republican, a real Republican, I don't want people, especially those that are getting Social Security disability and they have never really worked, I don't want them getting earned income tax credit. I don't want them getting stimulus money. All it does is, you ever notice that our drug problems don't go down? I mean, this is not difficult to figure it out. It really isn't. Think about this. We have people who get money every month, and I'm talking about the ones that live off the government. And there's a lot of Republicans like that. Look, I'm not saying there are most Republicans, not all. Most Republicans don't. They've worked hard. They get to a certain age, and they get what they've worked hard for. It's there. But there are so many that point the finger at everybody else. But they're also responsible. I know people don't want to hear that, but they are. They're also responsible. And so if we don't change what we're doing, and this is why I'm always going to our own Republican Party. We had the House and the Senate the first 2 years of Donald Trump. Of course, we had a phony named Paul Ryan, who was Speaker of the House, a phony who worked against Trump, as did most of the phony established Republicans. That was the time to clean house. We didn't do it. And that's why when Donald Trump came out Sunday, he said, I'm going to work hard to make sure that we take over the House and the Senate in 2023. This is our year to get it together. It really is. It's our year. And for those of you sitting back waiting, and I lose it. I really don't have patience with people say, well, we'll worry about it later. We'll worry about it later. Not a big deal. Well, let's worry about it later. I don't get it. I really don't get it. We don't have time to wait. We've been waiting forever. We've been sitting on our hands. It's really interesting. both parties have a lot of nutcases, and I'm going to speak lightly of one nutcase on our side. For those of you that are fairly new at politics, most of you that are fairly new at politics respect me for what I do, for what I've said, and what I support. There is nothing I despise more than people who walk into the political arena and all of a sudden think they know what they're doing. And I say that for a reason, because they do more harm than good easily. They really do. They scare people off. I mean, they scare me off. They make me want to leave. There's one particular person I'm talking about, and a few people may know, but I'm bringing it up for a reason, because it just blows me away. Now, I'm not going to let one person do this. But we don't need to allow the nutcases to rule. And that's what we've done, because we don't do our jobs. And until we do our jobs, ladies and gentlemen, it's not going to change. It's not going to change. And I'm going to fight this every day of my life. And my life may end tomorrow. I don't know. But you know what? I'm going to fight it. The one thing I want on I won't have a tombstone. I don't know what I'll have. I don't know. I won't be around to know. But at least people would say, at least Dave fought to the end. Because that's the way it's going to be. But I want... Excuse me. I want everybody to fight to the end. I do. Now, let's talk about a dud. He says, I think he's fading. Says Trump's CPAC speech was a dud. There were millions of so-called people that thinks he's fading, I guess. And that, by the way, that was said by John Kasich, who I used to like, by the way. Former governor, Trump hater. And he told, and this is what gets me. They go on the very networks that they used to not go on. But he goes on CNN. And CNN looks at these people and go, we got another dumbass here. Let's put him on. And here's what gets me about these loser phonies. They like to call themselves Republicans. They actually believe the leftist media will be on their side. It's not going to happen. They have to understand that the leftist media wants nothing to do with them except use them. Please understand, the leftist media, which is corporate media, and this is something else I've been putting out there. Corporate media, corporations, the major corporations are not on our side. Trump will, I would tend to think every person watching right now, not every, most, except for my enemies, totally understand that Trump is on our side. Corporate is not on our side. Corporate is not on Trump's side. Why do you think they have the cancel culture? Why do you think they do that? Well, if you do this, they want to scare us. And you know what? Some of us are scared. I'm not. Can't some of you SOBs? I couldn't care less. That's why when you have 75 million people that voted for Trump and 50,000 stand up and do the work, it's an embarrassment to our country. It's an embarrassment to our patriotism. It really is. If you remember correctly, we do not have a draft. Remember the draft there, veteran? We don't have a draft. For those of you young enough not to know it, the draft meant you were going in the service. If they picked your number, if you were in a top 1/3, you were going. If you were in a second third, you were probably going to serve somewhere. Back in Vietnam days, seriously, if you were in a top third, most of them went to Vietnam. Hey. So my point is we have a volunteer army right now, volunteer military. We have a volunteer anti-terrorism group in the United States called Patriots. That's what we have. We have them, but not many people are volunteering. We are allowing, here's the worst part, we are allowing the enemies to run the show. Ugh! It makes me cringe. It really does. We're allowing the enemies to run the show. That's where we are. We got teachers that don't want to go to work. We have so many different people in public office who couldn't give a damn. This is both parties. They don't give a damn about you whatsoever. They don't. And if we continue, here's the problem. If you notice, and I'll tell you what, it's very effective. If you notice, well, you're right. Most 18-year-olds are required to register for the draft, but there is no draft anymore. You're right. Hey, you know what? Leave it up to the Democrats. You know what? You know why the left doesn't want to draft anymore? Because most people that go in the military end up being Republicans. They do. They end up being Republicans. And Carl, you're right about one thing. Trump is a street smart kid. Trump will fight. I will fight. Maybe most of you people had it too easy. I grew up in the streets of St. Louis, and this is not about me, but I've always fought my way, whether it's physical or whatever. I fought to be where I am today. I fought to be where I was when I was growing up. I fought not to be poor. I fought all the time. And I'm fighting now. And I'm looking for other people. We are all looking for other people to stand up and fight. Too many people sitting back. And what gets me the most is like the reason we pay the military. Thank God we don't pay the military voluntarily. Really, thank God, because people would say, well, let somebody else pay. That's why I guess so many of them, only 1.7 of the U.S. population currently serving in the military. Hey, Ronnie, aren't you glad that we force people to pay for the military? Granted, it's probably way too much, but hey, you know what? At least, and this is it. If only 1.7% of the U.S. population is in the military, I'm glad. I would get to this now. Is there waste in there? Of course there is. There's always waste in everything. Anything government does, there's waste. That's a good one, Jim. I wonder if I wonder if the transgenders who are female, who claim to be male, I wonder if they have to register. Or, whatever. So let's see. Yeah, you know what, Jim? That's a good one. So if you're going to go ahead and say you're a male and you're 16 years old and you're here, if you are in male sports, here you go. If you are in female sports, but you really aren't carrying the right equipment, or you're carrying equipment that doesn't belong there. Anyway, if you are born as a male, but do you have to, I wonder if those people have to register. According to left, probably not. No, they want to leave it up to well, honestly, we only want real men to do it anyway. And that's another thing we have a problem with. How many real men are there? It's just one of those things that we have to do. So I really do shake my head at what we do today. But I am so glad that we force people to pay for the military, and I'm so glad we give them everything they need so they're successful. But I think that if Trump gets back in, or whoever it is, any Republican gets back in, if Trump was, have you heard the latest though? It's really interesting. Somebody said, well, maybe what Trump ought to do is go ahead. This would be interesting, wouldn't it? Trump ought to go ahead and run as a state rep. I mean, as a U.S. congressman. Run as for U.S. Congress, get elected, make sure we have a big majority in the House and the Senate, and then go ahead and get rid of Biden and go ahead and impeach Biden and Kamala Harris, and then therefore, in the meantime, elect Trump as Speaker of the House, and then he ushers himself in as to be president. That would be really interesting. The problem is, this is our problem. It all sounds good. It really does sound good. Here's the problem, though. That we don't have enough real Republicans in the Senate. You need 67 votes to make that happen. Right now, we have, let me put it this way. We have 50 official R's up there. But I guarantee you, there are a number, as we found out, there are a number of R's up there that really aren't Republicans. See, our problem is, and this is why I've already said this, our problem is we don't have enough real Republicans as it is. And this is why we have to start electing real Republicans. I'm not talking about just from our group. I'm talking about real Republicans. We just can no longer say, well, Ann Wagner, we'll go ahead and vote you in because you got an R next to it. We can't do that anymore. Hey, Roy Blunt, you got an R next to your name. We're going to vote you. No, we can't do that anymore. We need people to stand up and say, I am a real Republican. Think about that. You're getting up in front. Say you're debating Roy Blunt. You go, well, I guess the difference between us is I'm actually a real Republican, and that man's a phony. That man, and all you have to do, I'd love to write the speech for that person. All you have to do is point out all the things that they have done and said about President Trump, and that person would be gone. We have to stop electing phonies, that's for sure. I wonder if the Equality Act allows trading age units to avoid registering. Individuals who are born female and have changed their gender to male don't need to register. According to the United States Selective Service policy, transgender people between 18 and 25 who are assigned male at birth must register. Yes. I'm telling you, folks, that if we really don't get the right people in there, nothing's going to change. It's history. We can have, and this is the problem we have, and this is why I'll gladly go on a speaking tour. I will. I want real Republicans, and this is why it's not about me. Trust me, I couldn't care less. I'll get somebody else a better speaker. I couldn't care about. I'll be glad, and it comes from the heart. I'll be glad to go out there to every place we can go and say, we got to stop electing these phonies and point to that guy in that area. This person is a phony. I do it on this show. In my county, Dan Shaw is a phony. Mary Elizabeth Coleman is a phony. Becky Ruth is a phony. Elaine Gannon is a phony. There's many of them. But we continue to elect these people because they have an R next to their name. So how in the world are we going to take over the Republican Party with real Republicans if we can't even elect real Republicans? That's why every person, watching this show, and you know what? And I think this is why a lot of people have issues. This is why, in fact, I was told by somebody yesterday that all I'm doing is dividing. Well, in a way, they're right. You know why? I'm dividing from the real Republicans from the phonies. That's what I'm dividing. Oh, let's go ahead because they can help. No, if they're phonies, they're going to be phony. If you're phony to start out with, you're going to be a phony. That's just how it is. Oh, here it is. But they're not a phony when they're running for office, are they? In fact, somebody made a comment to me yesterday. It's like, if in the school board race, Vicki Hansen is a definite liberal. But if you read what she has, you would think she's a conservative. Damn near every person that runs for office on either side of the aisle runs as a conservative, even on the left. Because most Democrats don't want real liberal people in there. You know, here's something I don't get, and this is for you lefties out there. I mean, you may enjoy, maybe some of you Democrats out there love the fact that they're teaching your children. Think about this. If you're a Democrat and they're teaching your children about anal sex, if that's okay with you, then you better sure as hell vote for these people, because they're going to continue to let it happen. You're right. Republicans don't want to rule. They're afraid to. You know what they're afraid of? They're afraid the left won't like them. Real Republicans don't care if the leftist Republicans don't like them. I don't, in fact, most Trump people, I will say this, most Trump people don't care if John Kasich likes us. Most of them don't care if Mitch McConnell likes us. All those people. And now in Trump's behalf, he thought that, and I understand this, he thought that if he helped Mitch McConnell win, at least he would have somewhat of a Republican in there. Somewhat. Because I guess it's the lesser of two evils. Either we get a downright leftist, or we get someone who's not as bad. The United States agreed to take back their sovereignty. That the individuals we send to represent us They will go ahead because they're more interested if they like them or not. You're right, Ronnie. They go there and they go, wow, these people like me. And it's so easy to do. I can't believe people are so, and this is our fault for sending the wrong people there, no doubt about it. When you have little to brag about, I want somebody to brag to me all the time what they're doing. In Missouri, I noticed that they are finally doing some things, and I guarantee you, some of the things they're doing are because of shows like this one. Because they know that if you don't think some of them don't listen, they do. There's a lot of people that do listen to the show. I guarantee you they don't. But you know what? Even the ones I call out to say I don't want them elected again, they want to go to the voters because they know we're going to bring it to them. They want to go to the voters, and if this encourages them to stop acting like liberals, then I'm glad I did it. But they will go to the voters and say, see what we did? If you notice this year, in most cases, not all, there's some of them, and Holly Ryder, you say you're a conservative, and there's a few others out there. You just got elected, and then all of a sudden you turn into more of a liberal person. And she's a nice person, got a great history. I like her husband, they're great people, but she's voting the wrong way. Sound familiar? They get in there, and all of a sudden they think, well, we got to work with everybody else. Yeah, yes, let's go ahead and work with the people who are molesting us, who are taking advantage of us, who are. I mean, I just don't get it. I really don't get it. We got Dan Crenshaw here. Now, I would love to have Dan Crenshaw on my program. And he does one, I think, something like that. But he stabbed Trump in the back. How long will it take for the Republicans in his district to forget it? The whole idea of real Republicans is to remind all the people out there voting Republican what these people did to us. History. See, the one thing that the losers on the loser Republicans we have, the loser phonies, let's call them what they are, the loser phonies we have, they're hoping, in fact, they're depending, and it's actually a normal thing. People do forget it. They forget it and they go, well, but he's been fighting for now. Because if you noticed, the phony Republicans, the phonies up there, they go back into the same thing. Nikki Haley and the rest. And what happens? They go, we're fighting Biden and Nancy Pelosi. Well, that's what we're doing, and we want you to send us money. They're not fighting him. When the hell are you going to understand they're not fighting him? Because they say so? This is my whole point about elections to begin with. Why in the world does anybody actually think that these people say they're fighting, you believe it? Yes, we stop them. They have the agreements already made. Tell you what. I mean, I got to do this bit I've been wanting to do for decades. The boys in the back room. Because if you don't think there's boys in the back room, you have no clue about politics. Hey, Chucky, you go ahead and say this. I'll go ahead and say this. Mitch should be telling Chuck Schumer that. You say this, I say that. How's that? Oh, it works great. And they go out there acting like they really despise each other, hate each other, and all that stuff. Theater that Hollywood couldn't even come close to. So they come out there and they say, well, 1.4 billion or whatever, billion. No such thing as 1.4 billion in the federal government. And probably the ones that get it the most, and this is what we have to be careful of. Because you have the power of Kevin McCarthy. I don't forgive that guy. Kevin McCarthy is a backstabber too. Why didn't these Republicans stand together with President Trump? Because they're chickens. Because they really didn't mean it to begin with. Meadows at least stuck with them. And there's a few others that did. Jim Jordan, if you listened to the speech the other day, you got to hear from President Trump, and he was applauding Jim Jordan big time. Jim Jordan doesn't back down. Jim Jordan treats us the same way I treat it. He goes after these people because, all they want to do is let's play fair. No, it seems like the only ones that want to play fair are the phony Republicans. Remember, they're phonies. They're not Republicans. Phony wannabe Republicans or phony so-called Republicans, whatever you want to do. That's the only ones that supposedly want to play fair. Now we got former CIA director who is a communist. How do you like having a communist? He was a communist growing up. Trust me, he's still a communist. How do you like this guy? He said, I'm increasingly embarrassed to be a white male these days. Well, you know what? I'm going to agree with him. I'm increasingly embarrassed that he's a white male. I'm not embarrassed I'm a white male. I'll bet you most of the men who watch this show are not embarrassed by that. I'm just blown away by some of this. We have in Chicago, we have some of the worst. Well, almost every big city, we have some of the worst crime ever. By the way, I don't watch the network news. When President Trump would bring up the fact that all these major cities are crime-ridden and they're run by Democrats, isn't it amazing how the media would not report this? They don't go in there and say they're having the worst time ever. This should be a daily thing. Chicago is suffering from the worst they've ever had. St. Louis has the worst murder rate in the United States. Why? They go in there and they talk about the programs that they need. They don't talk about the people running it. They don't talk about the circuit attorney. They don't talk about any of that stuff. They only talk about the headlines. Well, Ronnie, I hear that there are some people who are really looking at running, and I'm glad to hear that. I really am glad to hear that. I love that. I love that when he did that. Yeah. I brought that up yesterday, but I loved it. Here's a list of the 17 Republicans, and let me tell you something. He had no problem forgetting this. These are the worst of the worst, but there are plenty more. And I'm going to go through the list again, because if you're watching and they're in yours, somebody needs to stand up and say, especially every congressman here, every congressman that's on here needs to be beaten. Every one of them. Let's go with the congressman first. Tom Rice of South Carolina. Dan Newhouse of Washington. Adam Kinzinger of Illinois. Anthony Gonzalez of Ohio. Fred Upton of Michigan. Jamie Herrera Butler of Washington. Peter Meyer of Michigan. John Katko of New York. David Valadao of California. And the worst of the worst, Liz Cheney of Wyoming. Every single one of them needs to be defeated. Now, we can all stand by and say, yes. Let me tell you how it really works. This is politics. This is how it really works, not what they tell you in political science class. The establishment goes to these people, and they go, all right, you stood up for us. We appreciate it. Time for you to retire, whatever. We'll find something else for you to do. We appreciate you doing what we needed to do. That's the established Republicans. Don't ever think it's not happening. It's happening. And that's what they'll do. Every one of them. It's like you've given, if it looks like, we can get you through, you squeak you through, like Liz Cheney. I don't see any way in the world she can win again. But then again, that voters have short memories. That's a fact. But they're going to replace it with a duplicate. And all they have to do, same with Roy Blunt. Right now, the established Republicans know that Roy Blunt, he barely won last time. Roy Blunt is probably going to end up going against Nicole Galloway, since she's the hottest Democrat right now, even though she lost to governor. By the way, the establishment didn't care which one lost, which one won. They didn't care at all. They got what they wanted. They got their establishment candidate. They worked together. It's like, hey, your turn. They put their finger in the air and said, which one's got the best chance. That's what they did. So we have all these people here. Every one of them needs to be defeated by real Republicans, not phonies. And the one running against Roy Blunt, Scott Sifton, another phony. So they go to Roy Blunt and they go, hey, you know what? You've done well. You gave it up. I know you didn't vote for impeachment, but, you barely got through before. We don't want to take that chance of losing. And we'll throw somebody else out there. Go ahead and play the game. Let him beat you. Or at least have somebody. And here's what will happen. Scott Sifton will come out there. He'll say, I was a Trumper. He'll use Trump all the way. He'll use Trump until he gets there. I was a Trumper. I did this. I did that. This is what he did. And they've got everything set in stone. And the voters go, wow. Wow. Here's another one. State Senate. She's going to go out there and she goes, I brought legislation to have Highway 55 named after Trump. And the typical stupid voter, I'm sorry, just how it is, Republican voter who just doesn't really pay attention, they do what they told, just like when you vote for Parson, they're going to go, wow, she's really one hell of a woman because she wanted to name part of the highway. That's all it took. I wouldn't be surprised if she won just by that. So when Republicans tell me how intelligent they are, sorry, go watch another show. I'm not going to do it. Go find somebody that's going to kiss your ass and tell you how wonderful you are, because I want everybody to pay attention. And if you agree with me, then you're like, yeah, Dave, you're right. You're right. But too many of them is like, but you know what? And this is what a lot of the rookies do. One rookie in particular. Oh, but she's so nice. I don't care about nice. I care about what they get done. That's what I care about. Ronnie, you know I am right, don't you? You know I'm on target, don't you? It's one of the reasons why Ronnie I get along. Not because he agrees with me. I mean, not because he says, oh, I believe everything Dave says. No, because he has a mind of his own. He's like, yes, I agree with you, Dave. That's what's going to happen. Because if you don't think they don't have this down to an art, they do. I can look at my email. Maybe I will. Let me see if I can find my email real quick. And the reason I bring it up is because I haven't done this. I get mail from the left and the right. Why I get it from Democrats, I have no idea. And basically, I want to tell you right now, it's almost the same email with different names. It is. It's like it came from the same office. Except, okay, you take your name out, put theirs in, whatever. That's really what it amounts to. Let me bring it over here. I get this all the time, though. Oh, yeah, I get this all the time. All these emails, and they're telling me, one or the other, what you need to do. This is massive. Let me see, who's this from? InfoProtectVoting.org. Beto O'Rourke says he's thinking about running for governor of Texas. Doesn't that just... Following Greg Abbott's complete lack of leadership during COVID-19, COVID-19 was really genius. You may not like the left and like what they did. It got Republicans falling for this crap. You can't go into a store without Republicans going, oh, no, we got that mask on. They told us got to have it on. I have to go in that store. I have to. I go into those stores. I don't put a mask on. I'm amazed at how many pussified Republicans we have that go into a store because the sign at the door says wear a mask. Oh, but it's their business. I'm doing it. No. That business is doing it because they're being forced to. Put it on the door. Most of them don't care. When I go to Sam's, I get there and they go, you need a mask. And I go, no, thank you. And I walk through and they never chase me down. Now, some people say, well, that's just... No, it isn't. I'm not going to do... Why would you do something unhealthy? Yes, that little munchkin over there. Sorry, she's a nice gal. But they got a midget there. And they got this woman in there. One time she's like, Dave... No. She said, sir, you need a mask. I said, whatever. And I just walked through. If all of us did that, or if all of us walked out, they would change it. All of a sudden, corporate America knows that you're a fool. They know that up front. It's so sad that we have so many weak Republicans. And I see it all the time. And Republicans want somebody to speak up for them. Yes, speak up for me, will you? Yes, you do this, you do that, whatever. Speak up for me. It just is... I get rid of most of these ridiculous emails I get. And I got to learn to keep some of them so I can use them for the show. But some of these... and Alan, I will look at the proof that you have. We got to get that done right away. I'll do that... let me see. Oh, let me see here. I like it. Hey, I want to tell you. Okay, here you go. Alan, if you're watching, I'm looking at our proof here. Can you put Rick Lamborn and Wendy Moore and Charles Huey in red? I think that would work well. And then we'd be done. And the same thing with Jacob. There you go. You can tell your beautiful wife that she did a great job. Looks great. It does. Looks great. In fact, let me see. I don't know how I can show this without showing. I don't want to show the rest of my email here, but it's screenshots only. So anyway, if you're listening, yeah, if you could just put Jacob, Rick, Wendy, and Charles in red, I think would be great. And by the way, what it says here, so everybody knows, this is what we're doing in our county. This is what we could do in your county if you get more and more people involved. We, as Real Republicans, are supporting these people for school board. And that's what we're doing. And I encourage everyone, you know, and this is what everyone has to help pay for this. Oh, no, we want you to do this on your own. Everyone needs to buck up and go to realrepublicans.net and say, hey, I'm going to support these people. Unless you want the schools the way they are. Now, a lot of the people watching right now have. Not all have. Some of them disappoint me. They really do. Some of them I understand. But some of them, it's just disappointing. So anyway. But my point is with all this, it is they call this, what's really interesting about these school board elections, you know what, Carl? I'm going to get to that in a second. In these school board elections, though, the live thumb up. I'm not sure what that is. In these school board elections, though, we need everybody to join in. And not just support this. And don't be a cheap ass. These things cost us money. And the few of us, and there need to be, if we had 10 times more, we could win so many elections, because you may not, I don't want to hear the cheap asses out there say, well, but I don't want to do that because, I'm sorry, I'm not buying it. It's funny how when we get to politics, people become poverty driven. Oh, I can't even pay for that's the biggest bunch of crap I've ever heard in my life. There are a lot of, and I call them out. They don't like it. You know why people don't like it? Because they don't like to be pointed out. They don't want to take a look in the mirror. What makes them think I'm rich or some of these other people are rich that we can do that is beyond me. Because you know what? I would rather have one less honey bourbon a day or month, whatever. It's kind of a joke I have here. I'd rather have one less thing, eat out once less, so I can support the very people I want representing me. And there's so many out there to say, well, I'll help in some way if I can ever make the time. But if you're watching this show and you're one of them and you're making those excuses, you are the problem. You are the problem. Well, Dave, don't be coming after me like that because that's not really fair. Oh, well. May not be fair. That's it. By the way, I didn't read the other people here. I read the representatives. Let me get to the senators, and I'll go on to the next subject here. The senators that voted to impeach was Richard Burr of North Carolina, Bill Cassidy of Louisiana. I think it was Burr that was being a total jackass to the voters. See, this is just it. And in fact, I'm going to talk about this in a second. Bill Cassidy of Louisiana, Susan Collins of Maine, Lisa Murkowski of Alaska, Mitt Romney, of course, of Utah, Ben Sass, who was an ass. I call him Sassy Ass, and Patrick Toomey of Pennsylvania. This is something that every person needs to understand. These people that I read there, they supposedly represent you. I got a simple question. if you don't agree with, if you don't like it, this is major. I understand on small issues. Every one of these people voted for impeachment. And the other ones that we haven't even talked about were pretty much in the same ballpark. But let's just start with these. Because, by the way, these are the ones that threw themselves down and said, all right, if I lose, I lose, but they're going to take good care of me. Because the establishment that you're going to continue to elect, they're going to take good care of them. How many senators and congressmen do you know that served live in poverty? I don't know of any. And yes, they get money, they get pension. But how many of them? How many of them live in poverty? They don't, because every one of these people here is going to be guaranteed a good paying or better job because they did what they were supposed to do by the leadership. And by the way, the leadership would be Mitch McConnell. I don't care if he voted to impeach or not. He's in on this. Don't ever think he isn't. That's how it works. And on the House side, Kevin McCarthy. That's why. And they're saying, hey, look, this is your choice. If you do this, we'll make sure you got a job somewhere. That's how it works. That's just how it works. Until people understand this, they're never going to get it. I don't know what you mean, Carl. Harry True. I just don't get it. I really don't get it. But I really do hope that that we do get to a point where people start, their memories work, that their amnesia is gone. If you have amnesia, the one thing about the establishment, and it is a fact, and everyone's got to know this. Either people don't know their history, and we're going to point out this is why it's so important. Let's just say we could take rural Republicans and make it 1 million strong. Then we can have 1 million strong of people that buck up. Then we can go around the country in so many ways and say, remember this? We don't do that. When Ann Wagner runs next year or Roy Blunt runs next year, they're hoping you forgot. You know what people are going to remember? Well, at least this is what they'll say. This is how bad the Republican voters are. At least she didn't vote to impeach. She did so many other things to stab Trump in the back. But because voters suffer from amnesia, people will say that. So, well, at least she didn't vote to impeach. So you have another backstabber. She knows she's in a district that is going to, if she was to vote against Trump. Look, you notice something? You didn't see any Republicans in Missouri because Trump won by 20 points in Missouri. They know it would be a bad move. They know they're dead. But I guarantee you, in some of these, forget it. Unbelievable. And some of these districts and some of these people, the people are going to go out and vote that way. Harry left office to have everything. He drove best home. That was back then. No, Carl. You're talking 60 years ago? Whatever. You're talking 70 years ago. 65, 70 years ago. That was back then. These days, the establishment of both parties work together, and they have this down. They have this down to a science. There's no doubt about that. They have it down to a science. And don't ever think for 1 second that they're going to change anything they do. They've got it down. They're going to take care of you. That's why they're in control all the time, because they realize that the voters, and look, right now, why do you think that the Republicans really don't have as much problem as they may say it, but they really don't, because they don't do anything about it. They really don't, about all these monuments and stuff, because they don't care. They want history to be forgotten because they're more interested in taking care of their Chinese friends and their liberal friends, because, look, let's be honest with you, that's where all the money is. The corporations have to stand, they stand in line with them. I told you, we are the minority. Even though we're the majority, when it comes to everything, we're the minority because we have allowed these people to win. So anyway, all right, we're gonna do top of the hour. It's a little bit past top of the hour, but we're gonna do this because I need to have a break. So we'll go ahead and get this here, and let me get started. Let me get through the ads here that you do, and we will be back.
If tomorrow all the things were gone, I'd work for all my life, and I had to start again with just my children and my wife. I thank my lucky stars to be living here today,
where the flag still stands for freedom, and they can't take that away. And I'm proud to be an American, where at least I know I'm free. And I won't forget the men who died, who gave that right to me.
and I gladly stand up next to you and defend her still today, 'cause there ain't no doubt
I love this
land.
God bless the USA.
God bless the
From the lakes of Minnesota
to the hills of Tennessee,
Across the plains of Texas, oh, from sea to shining sea.
from Detroit down to Houston, and New York to LA, where there's pride in every American heart, and it's time we stand and say, oh, and I'm proud to be an American, where at least I know I'm free, and I won't forget the men who died, who gave that right to me.
and I'm gonna stand up next to you and defend her still today,
'Cause there ain't no doubt I love this land. God bless the USA. God bless this country.
I'm proud to be an American, where at least I know I'm free.
And I won't forget the men who died, who gave that right to me. And I gladly stand up.
Next to you and defend her still today, 'cause there ain't no doubt I love this land.
God bless the USA.
If you people don't like that, there is something seriously wrong with you. That is just, and as I always say, and I mean this sincerely, if that doesn't hit your gut, then you don't have one. I mean that. If it doesn't hit your gut, you just don't have one. Am I right there, Ronnie? And the rest of you guys? What do you think? I think it's so important that, you got to check yourself. And this is where patriotism is not just a word. I'm just amazed by people put a little flag up and they think they're done. Hey, I put the flag up. They go through the motions. In fact, I'm going to take my friend, I think Elizabeth has said you need to do, at the next Real Republican meeting, you need to go ahead and play. You don't have to show it. You need to go ahead and play the Red Skelton deal. The Red Skelton, where Red Skelton gets there and he goes through the Pledge of Allegiance. It just, if we're not, really, if people can't feel this, I mean, honestly, I think people are dead inside. You know, and there's something you said there, veteran, I really liked. Voters don't suffer from amnesia. Well, actually, I believe they do. Well, it's kind of a joke. They are indifferent to what politicians do. You know what they can't, you know they won't do? No, I believe they do because they forget. They really do forget. And not just that, I'll disagree with that. I think they really forget what they've done. They forget because once they're reminded, go, oh yeah, that's right. I forgot about that. So I'm gonna disagree with you there. But the biggest thing is that here we are telling people to keep them accountable, and we don't keep them accountable. Oh, I gotta be honest with you. I cannot do taps. I can't do it. I don't know about that. Taps is the hardest one. I really cannot do it. I cannot watch. And maybe that'd be a good way to end a show sometime. Do taps. That way I don't have to show how it gets me. Because it does. It really gets me. Because when I watch taps or hear taps, you know what's with it. And you know something, veteran? I really believe those are the things that we need to do. Maybe I ought to do that more. Because then when people hear taps, we can look at that in different ways too. Because right now, unless we get off our dead asses, we might as well do taps for the life of our nation. Because our nation's going to die. You know what? I actually, I'm not a big bagpipe fan. I'm just not. I like it with a horn, with a trumpet. I just, that's how I like it the most, and that to me gets me the most. For me, everybody's different. That's just how it goes. But maybe that's how I should do it. Do a taps at the end of the show and then do my little thing that I do. Because I really do believe everybody, because right now, unless we get off our butts and do something, we're looking at the death of a nation. That's really how I feel about it. It really is. We really have to start doing things a little bit differently because right now, we're dying. We're dying. Look at this. We have been introduced to communism for many, many years. This is why I consider those people out there who put the mask on religiously. If you're one of those people, you may not like what I'm going to say now. You may want to turn the show off. I really don't care. I consider you that you have been transformed into the first part of communism. I really do believe that. Because you're doing if you look at the facts, which not the facts of the media and the facts of Dr. Fauci, he's not a doctor anyway as far as I'm concerned, that if you look at all those facts, you have been transformed and when you put that stupid mask on. Because, I see this all the time and people and I know a lot of Republicans, they call themselves Republicans, but they're like, well, you've got to listen to the science. The science of the left? You have seen the biggest farce ever put on the American public, and you don't get it yet? I know and some of the people, they listen to Wendy's, because Wendy's nice enough to let me put my show on her page. And thank you, Wendy. And by the way, it's her birthday again. She's very young. But the people, if you're watching this, and you are some of those people I'm talking about, and you have allowed the left, and you've listened to all this garbage, and you've seen them say, I mean, come on, look, if you have a brain left, which I begin to wonder sometimes, if you have one left, you really have to understand. Well, welcome to the Super Dave Show. Who do we have here?
Hello, my name is Jason. You have the wrong phone number up on your screen, Dave, just so you're aware. You have 314. I just happen to know the phone number because I've called in before, but inexplicably you've put up just a phone number that doesn't go anywhere.
Well, I'll be
Do
glad
that
to
on
fix
purpose,
that.
or-
I'll be glad to fix that. So what's on your mind?
Well, I was concerned with your SEO as well. Like I tried to search for Dave Day, Real Republican. I tried to search for Super Dave Show, and I can't for the life of me find you. I think it might be hurting your ability to get out to people. When I look up Super Dave, I just find the famous Super Dave Osborne Show. And when I look up Dave Day, Real Republican, I just find a bunch of articles about Republicans doing something on a particular day, and their names are Dave. And that's
Well,
the truth.
You know what
can
that
look it
tell?
up
You know what
yourself.
that tells me is I'm not doing a good job. I'm failing. Is that what you're saying?
What do you mean? I'm not sure I understand that.
I hung up on him. That's our idiot caller that comes in and he acts, he's faking it all the time. So we know I know who you are. I've got you down. So I'm not going to play your game anymore. See, that's the idiocy of the left. They like to come in here and be a total jackass, and I'm not going to deal with that anymore. I saw who it was. I thought, all right, what's this clown got to say now? If this is what you do with your time, oh God, it just, that's where we are, folks. This is, if we don't fix what we're doing on the right, these idiots on the left are going to play this game over and over and over. And I already know I'm not going to play the game. See, he spoofs his number and stuff. So I'm not going to play. I'm not going to play. Go find somebody else. Go find another show to play with, because I'm not going to play. I'm not going to play. So, it just, this is what they do. This is what they do in their life. See, this is what we are up against. And we may think it's funny and ridiculous, all that stuff, but this is what we're up against. And we just can't do this. He can play this all day long if he wants. I really don't care. I really don't care. Let me see. What's this? Let me check something out real quick here. Tell you what. If you are a different caller, then what I want you to do is go on one of the different formats that I have, with the platforms. That way you can identify yourself and you can say, hey, that's my number. And if you do that, fine. If you don't, too bad. Because I don't know, I'm not going to play. And when you go from one to the next, that's it. I know how they can spoof calls and do all those things. I know how that works. I'm not going to play. Children, I don't. And if you are a legitimate caller, then like I said, go on one of the platforms and say, this is for me. Oh, link for taps. Thank you. Do you like my idea, Ronnie? Maybe at the end of the show, I'll go ahead and say, you know what, I'm going to. In fact, I'm going to do that. I'm going to do that for sure. I think it's a great thing to do, because I want people to feel what we feel. I really do want that. Because right now, I don't think we do. I think most people honestly don't get it. They don't get it. And today's show, when I leave, I'm going to go ahead and play taps, and then I'll play the end of the show like I usually do. People have to start feeling it. You just can't go through what you're doing now. That's all. Okay, go ahead and try to call in again, and we'll go ahead and entertain it. Oh, okay. You're welcome to do that. You're welcome to do that. And hopefully you're a legitimate caller. That's all I can say. Because I really don't want to play the game. not in the mood. It's too much important stuff to do, and that's it. So, if you call in, we'll take the call. Let's put it that way. But if you're not, if you're the same, and by the way, I have a very good, well, let's just see what happens. So if he calls back in, if somebody else calls, we'll see. But anybody that wants to call in, let's find out who it is. All right, let's see what we got here. All right, you're on the Super Dave Show. Who we got here?
You still haven't changed the number.
See, it doesn't make a difference. All right, I hung up. That's the same guy. Yeah, he supposedly. I figured it was. I figured it was. Guy's a clown. That's just how it goes. What? Nothing else to do. See, and they have ways of putting numbers down and say, "Hey, this is where it's from." So, you morons. See, there you go. See, Richard, what you did, or whoever you really are, what you don't understand is that I have a very good ear for voices. When you do this, you do that. You can tell voices. I have a better ear for voices than I do for people. You know how some people have face recognition? They're really good at that. I can do it for this. Whatever. All right. I don't know how to get rid of them there, but it really just whatever. This is what these clowns do. You know, it really is. On this whatever. So anyway, we have if you don't like it, go away. How about that? Just go away. I don't know what for. Probably, you know what? I think this person. I wonder if I can do that. Let me see if I can get rid of him there, because we don't need this kind of crap. Sorry, folks. It just when you get idiots, that's how it goes. That's how it goes. Let me just see if I can get it real quick, and we'll get rid of this person. I can probably do it on this. I hope so. We'll find out real quick, and we'll see. So let me see here. Da, 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 da. All right. Well, not really sure how I can do this, so I'll figure it out. That's all. You know. Okay, let's go to something else. We really are not interested in this kind of garbage. We really aren't. Okay, let's go back to what we're really doing here. Okay, let's go back to what these clowns are doing in Congress right now, and how we can hold them accountable, and what we can do. I know you would. You know what? You're right. You know, Ronnie. Doesn't it just drive you crazy? We have so many children out here. You know, it does. And they call themselves adults. The left is full of them. They're full of them. You know, I've thought about doing stuff sometimes, but I look at it and I go, no, thank you. I'm not in the least bit interested in that. I'm really not. I got better things to do in my life. And for some of these people, this is what they do, and I guess it excites them. I don't know. But there's a way, and I'll have to figure out when the show's over. And, you know, we got another half hour to go, and then we can go. We got another half hour to go. We'll play taps. And I'm doing that today. We're going to play taps today for sure. We're going to play taps, and I think it is something I want to do. Because I want, you know, and I know people think I'm crazy for this. You think crazy anyway. But if we can't feel it, and I guess, you know, it's kind of like, you know, the one thing I will say, Ronnie, that I really love about most military people, they have a camaraderie. And as I've told a lot of my non-military friends, which would be me, that if you didn't serve in the military and you feel bad, then start serving now in the domestic army, because that's really what we are. Right now, we have domestic enemies like this clown, you know, that's calling in. We have domestic enemies like him, but we don't have a domestic army, and that's the whole point. Maybe we should we should call the Republicans a domestic army. We need something like that. It's so sad because this is what happens. These are the same people that want transgenders in school. They want transgenders running everything. How come there are so few transgenders in this world, but you would think every other person was a transgender? How come you can't watch TV and 80% of the people are either black, female, or transgender, whatever? I'm just stunned by this. But this is corporate media. There is no doubt. And by the way, the Bushes were involved in this. Don't ever think they weren't. The Bushes, it was George H.W. Bush that talked about the one world government. This is something they want. The minority, and you know why? You're right. The minority rule the majority because the majority doesn't do much. It's that simple. And if we could get, here you go. We have one minority which has more people in it than the other minority. Now, totally in the Trump movement, there's more people in the Trump movement. But there's an absolute minority of people who will actually do anything. That is our problem. Wouldn't you agree? If we had a majority of these people, if we had a majority of the people, if we had how about this? If we have a bigger minority of people in the majority that were doing something, we could win this easily. We could easily win this, and we're not doing it. And that's the problem we have. So right now we have a minority that is winning. A small minority of people. It reminds me of the elections. It reminds me of the elections because next month, on April 6th, I want to see, and do you hear the election? By the way, do you hear the parties talk about this? I don't. Do you hear the parties talk about the fact that, hey, we need every Republican to get off their asses and get to the polls and vote for good people to be in local government, to be on the school boards? Do we have that? No, we don't have it. It is disgusting. It is disgusting. Ronnie says, the Brotherhood, I had a soldier FaceTime me last week that I haven't heard from in years. He was in the hospital and someone to reach out to that understood his situation, was glad to take the call. That's why we actually, you're right. That's actually why we go, a lot of us as we get older especially, we start looking at our lives and thinking about the few people, and you think about there are a few people in your lives that have made a difference. And in fact, I want to play old man here for a little bit. And this goes with kids and friends and all kinds of people. There are people we met or kids that we have, whatever, but when they were younger, they were wonderful. But those same people have totally changed. A lot of us have kids, and some of those kids have totally changed. Totally changed. And you look at them, and I tell my friends, it's like, you took care of them when they were young. When they got older, they did what they did. The things that you taught them, there were two of you, whatever, involved, really. And many of them take the easy way out. They really do. They take the easy way out. And a lot of them want to rebel, especially against someone like me. They want to rebel against somebody like me because they stand up. Now, later on, it's funny because a lot of them end up being different. Remember when Ronald Reagan was president and the media loved Patty Davis? They loved Patty Davis. Why? Why did they love Patty Davis? Why did they love Patty Davis? Because she did not agree with her father. And all of a sudden, she became the star. Remember that? She became the star. She became the star because she didn't agree with Daddy Reagan. It's just unbelievable. And anybody that agreed with, disagreed with Ronald Reagan, that was their news. Well, what do you think, Patty Reagan? Well, I don't know what's going on, but I don't agree with my dad. Oh, hey, she knows more than her father. That's what they do. That's why it was so difficult with the Trump family. You ever notice that? In the Trump family, think about it. Why do we do that? Why do we do that? Because if someone in the Trump family was if somebody was against Dad, my God, they would be a superstar. But no matter what happens, you see Eric Trump out there, you see Donald Trump Jr., you see all these people. See all of them. It's amazing. And this is what they do. The Trumps are tight. You're right. The Trumps are tight. The Trumps get out there. You know what the Trumps do, really? What the Trumps do is I'm sure Dad, before all this happened, said, guys, this is what we're going to do, and I'm going to need your help. And I want to warn people some things, though, that I think are wrong. Number one, let's not pull the Bush thing. Just because Dad Trump is there, I'm not saying that Donald and Eric aren't in the same place, but let's not make someone else president because their dad was. That's not. Let's make sure. We have. If Donald Trump doesn't run again in 2024 or however this works out, that we do have other people. We just have to vet them. My favorite one is a woman. Can you imagine me? And by the way, it's not Candace Owens. I like Candace Owens, and she stands up and talks, and I think she would make a great senator or congresswoman. I think she said she could run for Senate because she'll stand up and say the way it is. I really believe that. We do need very good, strong people up there. We need them without a doubt. When we don't have them, we're really in trouble. We really are. There's no way we can get away with the very few that we have, and that's just it. We're always looking for the next Donald Trump or whatever, and make no mistake about it. I mean, how many people listened to his speech? There were more people listening to his speech that Trump had at CPAC than I think has ever happened, and you got to give. You don't think the media doesn't notice that? I can't. I gotta be honest. I didn't watch the news on Monday when they. I don't even know if did anybody watch the news on Monday? The network news. Did they talk about Trump at CPAC and what he said and how dangerous he is or whatever? I still find it. Here's what they'll do, and I didn't see it, so I'm just gonna guess. What they'll do is they'll say, "All right, this is the guy that started the insurrection." And caused all this stuff to happen. Call these, and they don't even talk about they talk about the deaths. Right now, Donald Trump's responsible for all the deaths. One guy had a heart attack. He's responsible. Another guy, this is how it works. They all were responsible. To young people, I say, you will be the link between the past and the future. You are living messages that you know what's interesting about what you just said there? Is that the few, there's not a whole lot of them, unfortunately. I think you'd agree with that. The few, honestly, who do listen to the older adults, I always listen to older adults. Unfortunately, I listen to older adults less and less, though, because there are less and less older adults. But I listened to, I did. When I was growing up, I listened to older adults all the time because I wanted to learn from their experience. And the one thing I don't find is their experience. I don't get it. How in the world did that happen? I'll take care of it. I'll take care of it. Now I'm starting to see something here. Hold on a second here. Let's take that down. Let's take that down. I don't get that. Yes, I do. Okay. Yeah, I see something here. I see something here. Yeah, we are older adults now. Yes. It is. Yes. It's really interesting here. I'm looking at something that let me see if I can fix this real quick here. I have to admit I did make a mistake on my number here. But, I did do that. Because the number is 636, by the way. When you're in an area where it is 1, I was trying to do something cool. And I did. But unfortunately, let me get over here. Oh, let me go to one thing here. I'm going to change something real quick. Just give me just a short time here, and we will fix this. Let me get rid of that. And let's add. Oh, give me 1 second here, and we'll get it here. Let me see here. How in the world that happened, I have no idea. Really don't know. Anyway, I'm just going to leave it like this and not worry about it. So let me save that, and at least we won't have that issue. Okay. Okay, there you go. Fix one more thing here, and we'll be right there. Sorry about that, folks. I did see an issue there. My apologies. My apologies. The loser was correct, and that was right. He is correct. So I'll thank him for that, even though he's a jerk on the phone. That's all. And the thing was, if you weren't such a jerk, it wouldn't be so bad. But, it just is really frustrating. So I tell you what, just go to Real Republicans. How about that one? We'll do that. Just go to Real Republicans. Just do that. Because right now, we need you. We need you bad. We need you bad. So anyway, there were some other things I did want to bring up here. I'm sorry, I got sidetracked here. My apologies. Let's get in here where we were. You only got what? You only have 2 friends that are really older? Everybody kicked off already? Oh, that's because you don't have any friends. That's what it is. And Ronnie, you're right. We are older adults now, no doubt about it. We are older adults, and that's just how it is. I do see more and more people listening on the other platforms. I do see that. It's interesting. A lot more. I can see who's listening, and it's really fun because it's like, yes, there's a lot more people, and some of those people don't even realize I can see them. I like that better because on the other one, I can't really see it as much. In Austria, 2/3 of Austrians say coronavirus restrictions are worse than the virus. Austrian Gallup Institute online survey of 1,000 Austrians found that 65% of respondents agreed with the statement the economic consequences of the Wuhan coronavirus lockdowns would destroy the lives of people more than the virus, up to 40%, up from 41% the year before. In other words, you people been fooled. You've been fooled. That's how it is. Isn't that great? You've been fooled. You know why a lot of people have problems watching the show? They don't like to be made fun of. I laugh at myself. When people, I'll tell you what, when people say the honest to God things that I say and I'm listening, I go, yep, you're right. You're right. And I really look at it and I try to look myself in the mirror and say, what can I do better and differently? That's what I really try to do. It's exactly what I try to do. And I would like for the people in Real Republicans in our group, and if you're not a member, if you're on Facebook and you want to be a member of Real Republicans, go there. And we actually got a group in Gab and some of the other ones too, just so you know. In Gab, not Parler. Does anybody know how to do that in Parler? I don't know how. I tried. I couldn't get it. I don't know why. I just couldn't get it. I guess it's due to my my inadequacy as a let me see, where are we here? I'll turn that off in a second. When it starts, let me look at something real quick here. All right, just double checking something here. It would seem the Wuhan virus worked for the communist bastard. You know what? Let's put it where it belongs, Carl. It worked for the association of the Democrats who worked quite nicely, and the established Republicans, mind you. It worked really nice with the globalists to make this happen. And that's what gets me. People said, well, why would they do it globally? Because they wanted to bring everyone to their knees. That's what it was all about. And the Chinese tell their people, you got to wear this, you got to wear that. They believe in restrictions. My God, if you don't do it, they just kill you. And it's going to be like that in the United States if people don't get off their dead asses and do something about it. That is my biggest concern. It really is. If we don't start doing something differently, it's over, folks. It's over. And for me, I don't know. Heads up. Oh, okay. That's one of my Facebook friends here. Might want to make sure your candidates were invited to this. This is an email from our principal we got today. It's really interesting. I'm watching. I want to explain something to some of the people. They have these. These deals where. These forums where they want the candidates to be there. And I understand that, but let me tell you the problem with that, seriously. The problem with that really, interesting. The problem with that really is that it's usually, not always, but it's usually they're with Republicans. I mean, with Democrats. And the Democrats, and all they want to do is they want to trap you and force you into things. Now, if you are an experienced speaker like I am, or some of the other people, that's different. But if you really are new at this, I never recommend. As a campaign manager and things like that, I recommend if you can only gain from it. But if you really don't know the ins and outs, and this is part of it, you got people in there that can tell you all about the school board. And they will go ahead and they'll go ahead and convince the idiots in the room that I know everything about school board. But unless you really understand how to defeat that, because the way you defeat it and say, well, yes, you've been there for 8 years or 10 years, whatever it is. But how come you allowed the previous superintendent to steal? How come you kept giving the previous superintendent raises? How come these are the things you have to do. And if you're not a good speaker, and I'm not knocking the people that aren't, but it takes time to get there because you have to think on your feet. And when you're half scared of talking in public, it's nothing against people running because they don't know and they'll get there. But if you aren't good at it, they're going to trap you. And that's one of the problems. And by the way, just because someone is a good speaker. This is where Americans are idiots. Just because someone's a good speaker or a good one in a debate doesn't mean they're going to be good at their job. Be good at president or vice president or school board member. That's the problem. So until we fix that, we're in trouble. We are in trouble. You know, people have to understand, you know, as people, okay, we had a lot of people say, I don't like the way Trump tweets or does this. I go, but let me ask you a question. Don't you love the results? I love the results of Donald Trump. Donald Trump did more for black people than any president in my lifetime. But what happened? The leftist media got out there, and all they did was nail Donald Trump left and right. That's all they did. He didn't do this, you know, oh, he's racist. They would just make accusations. And then here's the word that I despise the most. People know what I'm talking about. They would make assumptions that the media knew what they were talking about. The media, they'd make assumptions that the media was reporting real news. Why do you think Donald Trump called them fake news? Because they were fake news. But, you know, people still go there. I still see people do it. They go there and say, I was looking at that. And according to the news, I'm like, why are you even listening to the professional liars on the news networks? I don't get that. I really don't get it. Why would you do that? Why would you listen to the look, there's one thing politicians and news people have in common. They are professional liars. There's a lot of news people, not all. There's a lot of news people that can become politicians in a heartbeat. A lot of actors that could be politicians in a heartbeat. All they have to do is go out there and lie. You know, what do you want to hear? And I'll lie to you and tell you that. That's how they do it. So, you know, Carl, if you want to run for office, all you have to do is follow my lead, and I'll go ahead. Don't tell them the truth, because if you tell, sorry, these are Republican voters too, mind you. If you tell Republican voters the truth, they're going to vote for you. You see this just in with what I do. Because people don't like it when you tell them the truth. When I start my show out, it's called You Want the Truth, You Can't Handle the Truth, and you find out every single day. And I would think that most of the people listen to this show do believe in the truth. And they don't mind when I say it. And there's a lot of people out there say, why aren't other people saying it? It must not be true because other people are saying it, because there's very few of us that actually say the truth. CDC director, recent COVID-19 gains could be lost due to yeah, they are going to continue. The CDC, first of all, CDC is not a government organization. We don't even realize that. But they're not. They are, like it or not, and this is where we're in trouble. They are a political organization. Now, listen, everyone watching this show right now, the left, the media, is a political organization. They are not the media. They are the representatives of corporate America. They are the representatives of corporate America. They have nothing to do with the news, and until people get that, they're never going to get it. Let me see if it comes up with it. Who owns the mainstream media? You've got, this is how it works. Does anybody believe that Walt Disney, yeah, you're right. Exactly, propaganda arm. You know what's really interesting? When Fox News was a lot better, the left of all people had nerve to talk about how Fox News was the propaganda arm of Republicans. But, okay, does anybody watching the show right now actually believe that Walt Disney is straightforward? No. Walt Disney owns ABC, ESPN, FX, and Disney brands. National Amusements. Here we go. Let me get this. Finding where it starts here. Okay, Comcast. The Big Five. Okay, let's get back to Walt Disney. Okay, they own, let me go. ESPN, okay, ABC Television Network, ESPN, Disney Channel, National Geographic Wild, FX, FXX, FX Movie Channel, A&E, Lifetime, approximately 30 radio stations, music, video, game, and book publishing companies, production companies, Marvel Entertainment, Lucasfilm, Walt Disney Pictures, Pixar, Animation Studios, 20th Century Studios, Searchlight Pictures, and Blue Sky Studios, the cellular service, Disney Mobile, Disney Consumer Products, and Interactive Media, and theme parks in several countries. Also has a long-standing partnership with Hearst Corporation, which owns additional TV stations, newspapers, magazines, and stakes. You don't think there isn't brainwashing going on? Yeah, you know that. News Corp, Fox News, Fox Broadcasting Company, Fox News Channel, Fox Business Fox Business Network, Fox Sports 1, Fox Sports 2, Wall Street Journal, and New York Post, the magazines Barron and Smart Money, and HarperCollins. But that is turning left, as we all know. Comcast, NBC Universal, NBC Telemundo, Universal Pictures, Focus Features, DreamWorks Animation, 26 television stations in the United States, cable networks, USA Network, Bravo, CNBC, MSNBC, Sci-Fi, MSCSN, Golf Channel, E! Network, Olympic Channel, NBC Sports Regional Networks. Comcast also owns Philadelphia Flyers through a separate subsidiary. Isn't it great? Isn't it great? You are so lucky that Fox owns all this stuff. I mean, that these big companies own it. Here, let's do Warner. Formerly the largest media conglomerate in the world, with holdings including, ready for this? This is AT&T, mind you, folks. CNN, a joint venture with Viacom CBS, HBO, Cinemax, Cartoon Network, Adult Swim, HLN, NBA, hear that? TV, TBS, TNT, True TV, Turner Classic Movies, Warner Brothers Pictures, Castle Rock, DC Comics, Warner Brothers, Interactive Media, and New Line Cinema. Yes, Comcast is short for communist. You're right. And then last but not least, these are the major ones. Holdings, this is Viacom CBS. Holdings include MTV, Nickelodeon, Nick at Night, VH1, BET. See, you thought BET was owned by a black network. It used to be. By a black gentleman. Sold it. Comedy Central. By the way, you ever watch anything on Comedy Central? You remember the old, over the weekend, the network, Decades, they call it. I don't know who owns it. But they had, in fact, I'm going to read this. I put this down on purpose. Remember when we used to watch Dean Martin Celebrity Roast? Remember that? It was really cool. Okay. It was funny. It was a great. I loved it. It was great. Now, if you do a roast now, it is disgusting by pigs, by by people vulgar beyond belief. Back then it was innuendos were there, but not much. But whenever they would go to commercial and they get ready to go back to Dean Martin's comedy roast, compared to today, it's nothing. But this is a message they had every time it went back. It said, the following program originally aired in the 70s. Episodes may include outdated cultural references or humor. Viewer discretion is advised. Unbelievable. So here we go. We got the leftists out there who are telling us that all this humor is bad. So Archie Bunker, you know what's funny about it? Yet Archie, and we laughed. Archie Bunker would make fun of black people. And I got to give Norman Lear this. It was actually kind of funny. And he had a program where Fred Sanford would make fun of white people. We laughed at ourselves and each other. We did that. We did that. You had, and this is, I'll tell you what, have you noticed since Rush Limbaugh died that Bo Snerdley, James Golden's his real name, but Bo Snerdley's coming out, and he loved that man because that man was there for him. That man gave him the job he had forever. I think I don't know if he's with him the whole time. He's with him most of the time. But Bo Snerdley was part of the deal. He's a black gentleman. Do you ever hear that in mainstream media? Hell no, because because all they could do, if you notice, the leftist in the mainstream media never said that his right-hand man was Bo Snerdley, James Golden, a black gentleman who admired Rush Limbaugh. He thought Rush Limbaugh was one of the greatest Americans on the planet. And he shows that when he's out there on Twitter. But do you hear the leftist media say that? No. You don't hear that. Here, the one that gives probably the crudest remarks ever to every ethnic group there is in fun would be Don Rickles. Don Rickles was the guy when it came to ethnic humor. He was funny. Oh my God, he was funny. And sometimes he wasn't, but he was usually funny. But I actually in Vegas one time, I went to a Don Rickles event. He had an MGM or something like that. And he was going after him. And there was a black couple in the front. And it was, I'll never forget this. He was looking at him, and he stopped and he goes, I know why you're laughing, because I'm here doing this, and your brothers are in my room stealing my stuff. Now, if he said that today, with today's, oh, you're racist and all this stuff. But nobody really thought that stuff. And it was a joke, and we all knew it. But when it was over, Don Rickles introduced his Bo Snerdley, his right-hand man, who was a black gentleman, had worked for him for years and years and years, and they were good buddies. How did we get where we are now? Where if you say anything, if I said you whitewash something, you're a racist. If you blacklist somebody, you're a racist. If I call someone a she, I'm a sexist, I guess. I don't know what it is. It's just over the top. Oh, my friends. All right, I'm going to have to end this soon. Like I said, and I'll bet you, I wonder who stays around and watches. I'm going to end it with two things. What do you got, Jim? Let's see what Jim's got here. Let me. Oh, wait, we can't watch 33 minutes of Don Rickles. Can't do that, but I will save that, and I will watch that. But I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to end the show with taps. And after taps, we're going to end it with my regular ending. So, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to do taps, and then we're going to end it with my regular ending. I appreciate everybody who watches the show. I think I think that you guys are wonderful. Thank you very much. I will fix the few issues we had today. I really will. And thank you for listening. We're going to end the show. We're done. I will see you tomorrow. And you all have a great day. Let's listen to this. Whenever it starts. I haven't done this, and in 1891, taps became standard component of U.S. military funerals.
You can't quit. That's why not? Like you're fired. You can't fire me. Why not? You quit.
Over? Did you say over? Nothing is over until we decide it is. Was it over when the German bomb Pearl Harbor? Hell no!
German? Forget it, he's over.
It ain't over now. Because when the going gets tough, the tough get going. Who's with me? Let's go! Come on!
Thanks. I needed that.